All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm absolutely stoked to be here to see you on stage at this amazing event that Staya has organized for the third edition in 2024. I'm here for what is sure to be an exciting debate on the topic of AI being a friend or foe in quest for progress. I'm here joined by my three esteemed speakers. So let me just maybe introduce myself a bit, and I'll also introduce your speakers today on stage. My name is Kieran Lee. I'm a partner with Oliver Wyman based in Dubai. I lead our work in data and AI smart city topics. I'm here to moderate for this engaging debate today with you. I'm also joined by my three esteemed speakers, Professor
Reza Azad.
Reza, he's a professor at Stanford. He's also the founder and CEO of a Matroid computer vision company. Also joined by Kevin Rudd, who's a chief digital officer of Opus M Switzerland, and Dr. Albert Zhang of Lantu Technology from China. So maybe to get us started today, there's a lot of speculation about the future, point of singularity, where AI may become smarter, collectively smarter than humans. They may outpower us, control us, and so on. Now, maybe start with you, Zeda. Is the fear real? Is there reason for concern? Or are we speculating, or are we getting ourselves a bit too far ahead?
I'm certainly not afraid. I think we'll be able to largely build an AI that is obedient to us. We can control it. It's going to make our lives incredible, as it's already doing. We're seeing it all around us. At Matroid, we help factories use AI to make their rockets, their cars, whatever the factory makes, more high quality. And that has been an incredible boon for these factories. In the future, I think that control over AI will continue, and we'll be able to reap its benefits for the large part.
Okay. Kevin, the day when the Skynet will come and take over, control us, is the day coming?
Yes, it is. And I think there are going to be concerns. Yes, there are going to be concerns. And I'll explain a little bit. Now, let's take one step back. Look at our information and intellectual aids. During all these years, we had mainframes, and then we had PCs, and then we had laptops, and then mobile. Now we have mobiles even in the bed now. And I believe this is going to get closer and closer. As you can see, this is going to closer and closer. There are already some initiatives now, glasses or AI pins and so on. I think in the AI age, that is going to be even closer. Now, I tend to agree with those who believe our biological brain is going to be connected to the non-biological brain, intellectual AI. Now, there are already some attempts to it. There is advancement in nanoengineering, and also the better we know the human biology, we can connect our brain to the cloud, actually. This is now closer we are getting to. And that actually creates some concerns. Imagine our brain has some capacity, but our AI brain is going to grow and grow and grow. AI continues to rise and grow, but our brain cannot match the show. So what happens is that we delegate more and more thinking. We delegate thinking more and more. And the AI take the lead in digital core. It's happening today. You ask a question from your kid, they put it in ChatGPT. Now, the digital generation has little patience to explore. So in the history, we said, I think, therefore I am. Now, if we delegate thinking, then who am I? Who are you? Hello, AI, by humans? So there are going to be concerns. There are going to be real concerns. And I think with this amazing development of AI progression, we are probing the core human identity. We are exploring its fundamental reality. And that's the real concern in here. Obviously, AI continues. Well, here is one question, perhaps, we can stumble on, is what makes us human? What makes us human? Well, here's an answer. How about choosing all images with traffic lights when you log into websites? Are you a human? Yes, ding.
Right. Interesting perspective. Let's go to you, Dr. Zhang. What is your perspective on the future of AI? Should we be concerned about a future in which we might be controlled by AI?
I don't think we need to worry about that. The nature of AI is still technology. So people are dealing with the reality of existential risks for many years, as the invention of nuclear weapons, the climate change. We experience pandemics every 10 or 12 years. So we don't need to worry about too much. AI, the ecosystem of AI is very similar to that of, say, digital economy or smart city in 10 to 15 years ago, which was also involved technological innovations, talents, development, supportive policy makings, policy guidelines. So we have experienced that. So the key is, I think for now, the government needs to be prepared for the new technology, just like what we have done 20 years before. Yeah.
That's great. I also want to explore a bit about your take on some no-go zones of AI. We've talked about the future. I think we broadly agree that we are all here because we're proponents of the technology. We believe in the benefits that AI will bring to mankind now as well as in the future. But what are some of the no-go zones in your view that we should not interfere or we shouldn't play with AI in? Dr. Reza, let's go to you first.
So every application of AI has extreme end of where you just let a computer take over everything, and then the other extreme end, the human does everything. And depending on the application, there may or may not be human lives at risk. So in a medical application, there are human lives at risk. In a military application, there are human lives at risk. And the no-go zones are going to be defined by societies, and different cultures will have different no-go zones. So a no-go zone that might be acceptable in Saudi Arabia may be very well different in America. I had the privilege of meeting His Holiness the Pope in the Vatican just a month ago, and he gave a very clear message at the G7 where he said that, look, for military purposes, you should never have an AI, or in general a computer, decide to take a human life on its own. So, for example, a drone that is completely operated and without the aid of a human, perhaps it's been deployed several hours ago and it's searching for something that is an enemy and might destroy it. The Pope was very much against that, and he has 1 billion followers or more in Catholicism. So that seems to be a very clear line for Catholicism. However, in the Russia-Ukraine war, today there are drones that will attack without a human in the loop, and that's necessary because well, it may or may not be necessary, but it happens because there is an interference for a drone that is going towards a target. So there's a drone, it's been told, go into Russia, or vice versa, go into Ukraine, and whatever looks like a tank, attack it and destroy it. And the drone will do that autonomously because there's so much interference in electromagnetic spectrum that there is no possibility for the drone to call back home and say, this video, this tank, should I destroy it or not? So it has to work autonomously out of necessity of war. So in that war, in the Russia-Ukraine war, it largely seems like it's decided that it's okay for AI to go ahead and be used in this way in weapons. So that debate is very, very interesting in my mind. And I guess we should ask, the crown prince and the rulers of Saudi Arabia where they stand on this military issue. On the medical issue, make sure it is deployed in hospitals. We always ask that there be a human doctor that uses the hints and the diagnosis that our algorithms give. However, I'm very curious actually to hear how you handle this in your company, since there's an entire company that does medical imaging and AI for medical imaging. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about the no-go zones you have?
Sure. I'd like to share some of my opinions. The fundamental principle is simple. So anything that affects the human basic rights, then we need to be extremely careful about, like freedom to speak, freedom to live, for instance, right? So speaking of the healthcare industry or medical imaging, the typical thing we were working on. So my point of view is that we always need a human doctor or human expert behind the AI. So AI can be very powerful, can access a lot of materials, tons of say medical images of different patients, draw the conclusions. But the conclusions need to be reviewed by human doctors. So even for AGI, say in 10 or 20 years in the future, AGI can do very mission-critical tasks, right? But we always need to put human in the feedback loop to do the critical decision-making. And what I mean by critical, that's a fundamental principle. Anything related to human basic rights, we need to be extremely careful about it.
It's very interesting to hear from you because you founded a company in AI-based medical imaging that I think the future which may depend on a state where your software and equipment may be able to diagnose and do what doctors today do, but you believe that there has to be a human layer between patients and AI machines and the doctor. I mean, I think most people here would agree that military use of AI is probably a no-go zone that most people would agree with, even though there is an application that's been deployed on the ground, unfortunately. But there are also maybe some middle ground, some debatable use cases, right? So how about AI, I don't know, making rulings in court, or AI making decisions for, welfare recipients who may have to depend on the income support from the government to be able to put bread on the table. Is it okay for AI to make those decisions? Kevin?
I think yes and no. While we have the two opinions in here, and they're actually absolutely right, let's look at it from a different angle. We can sit here and talk about all the boundaries and no-go zones. We can agree on all permissible and impermissible usage of AI in different domains, right? In short term, yes. In long term, much less. Why? Why is that? I believe traditional controlling and regulation is not going to work in the age of AI for three reasons at least. One is the competitive dynamics of AI. Second is the cognitive adaptation of AI. And number three is continuous change of AI. I quickly explain. Competitive dynamics of AI. The benefits are so good. The benefits are so good, especially as mentioned in the area of protection, security, safety. And if AI enables you to do more, to do faster, and be secure and safer, on what basis? On what basis would you not use it? On what basis would you not enter this race? Second reason is that cognitive adaptation. AI learns by itself. There is a very chess master of AI, it's called AlphaZero. Now, the master of chess in the world have beaten everybody and any computer. the most learning this AI had was by playing by itself. How would you like to do boundaries in here? And the change of AI, the third reason, is so fast. It's so fast. You're working in the machine imaging industry, right? In 2014, there was an article from a distinguished university stating that machine and recognition of image for a machine is the hardest thing to do. In 2014, 10 years ago. And the very next month, Google released an AI that could do just that. So the speed of change, we cannot catch up with these boundaries and so on. Instead, I think longer term we need to focus on developing, regulating, responsible and restraining AI. The AI regulates itself, is responsible, and restrains, controls. AIs control AIs as well. Remember, in the singularity, in 3 decades, we are also connected to AIs. We're not really separable from AIs. So we really need to have control. And I can give you an example for the last part of this talk. There was an exercise in Switzerland, and they built an AI. They give it a password, and they trained the AI not to reveal this password. So I don't give it to anybody. And then they put it online for test. 1 million people now took the test and tried to hack this AI recently. And 200,000 people could crack it and get the password. They built another AI to control this AI, and nobody could do it. That's how we should now. Let's say when AI powers takes command, it must take ethics with own hand. AI must do itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, let's explore. I think we all agree that AI is here to stay, right? we'll only see a future in which AI will be developed further, advanced to better our lives at every corner of our lives. Now, maybe then, if I were to kind of think about putting AI, or what the safe use of AI could look like in different domains. And also, by the way, Saudi Arabia recently also established a safe guidelines on the safe use of AI. Maybe I'll ask you, of many principles you may have come across, what do you think is one principle that we must not forget? We must absolutely keep, to make sure that we have guardrails in place to to get to the safe use of AI. Maybe let's go to you, Dr. Reza.
So, like I mentioned, every single field that humans have endeavors in can eventually be automated, and we will then create new fields as a result. So, driving cars, you still take when you call a taxi, you're still having a human driver usually. Although in San Francisco and in parts of China, you can get a self-driving taxi come and pick you up now. Every single human profession, in some timeline, say in the next 30 years, will be somewhat changed by AI, maybe completely replaced. And that's fine. It's completely wonderful. What I would say is we should be super careful not to stop that progress for the sake of our children, because we are worried that we'll lose our jobs. That is manifesting itself in our creating regulations and barriers in order for technology to be deployed, and then creating false promises of we'll keep your job safe, when reality is maybe let's say, for example, taxi drivers are going to be having a strike. They'll say, okay, we must ban self-driving cars because it's our job. And then someone says, that's a no-go zone, AI is not safe, and so we shouldn't deploy it. that might work for like 5-6 years in any given city, but just as we saw Uber and app ride-hailing take over the taxi industry, the same thing will happen for other technologies like AI-driven cars. This will, and this analogy there's an analogy to this in almost every profession. So I would say that the biggest danger for us when we're trying to figure out these no-go zones is actually worrying too much about creating jobs for humans. I think we should have a mindset of let's free humans to do what we care about most, art. Human flourishing itself is not our jobs. Creativity and things that make us humans is not driving a cab. So I would say let's focus on those aspects that make us truly human, that make us truly enjoy our lives. And then as long as we make sure that, say, we're able to turn our computers off, as long as we're able to turn off the technology, we can tell a self-driving cab, don't drive, you just don't turn it on. As long as we have those control factors and we have a strong army of software engineers who are controlling them, it should be okay. And that, you know, if you're worried about this, if you're someone who's like, but I don't trust those software engineers, that might be a sign that you should become one. Right, you should probably become one, and it's sort of like learning how to read and write. Like actually, the Middle East was where writing basically started. So computers and programming is the new writing. So if you're worried about these things, learn to write, which is these days meaning learn to use a computer by programming it. I would say that's like the most important thing is learn to write, which is to code.
I want to go to you, Dr. Zhang. I want to hear from you as you think about developing next gen of your AI applications. What do you do? What do you always keep in mind to make sure that you ensure the safe use of AI, or you develop an AI applications that will adhere within your boundaries of safe use of AI?
Okay, so first of all, I agree with Dr. Zana that we don't need to contain AI. We let AI develop in every industry, right? I don't agree with there should be some no-go zone, but I do think we need some no-go role of AI. See, I always take AI as an assistant or a helper instead of a decision maker. We don't let AI do the decision making. Instead, we let AI help us collect information, process information, things like that. So keep that in mind. The ownership of model or ownership of AI or the responsibility of AI matters the most. So once we figured out who is responsible for the model, who is responsible for the AI and consequences, the model itself, or the company who developed the model, or the government, whatever, then we can go ahead and test a lot of scenarios or use cases. So that's the main idea I have. So when we developed AI medical imaging equipment or AI applications, we keep in mind that AI here help us assist. AI is assistant, not the decision maker. So the doctors or whatever the managers do the decision making. Yeah.
I like your perspective that you always consider AI as a kind of assistant or helper, right? You always put the human layer between the systems and big decisions that humans may have to make. AI may help them make better decisions, but at the end of the day, the accountability and the trigger pulling always lies with the human at the last step of decision-making process. Now, I want to talk about maybe perhaps a brighter future in which AI, how do we see AI contributing to more, making our society more equitable, more, fairer to live, and improving our, the quality of lives in the future? Dr. Reza, what's your perspective? How can AI help us become more equitable and become a better society in the future?
So one of the main things that AI can do is be the ultimate lever for somebody who is just completely starting out on the bottom, maybe an immigrant to a country that has almost no money, they are able, at least, so I guess in some sense, like, I don't know if there's an equivalent of the Saudi dream, but there's certainly this American dream where you move and you don't have anything, but you want to build a life for yourself. It seems like that if you are able to invest your talent into building software and AI, which is almost the same thing these days. Like these days, you can't really do software without learning how to do AI. If you are able to learn to code, learn to build software, it doesn't matter if you have $1 to your name or $10,000 to your name. Personally, I started with $0 in America. And in general, I think because I studied AI, and in Canada, we're both Canadian as well. That is like the great equalizer, which is if you're willing to bet on technology, with AI in particular, if you're willing to bet on AI for a long term, you can start seeing the benefits of it making you competitive with the most powerful people in the world within a decade. So if you really are someone who feels like, okay, I'm down on my luck, I don't have the opportunities that other people have, the world is unjust and inequitable, what do I do? Going back to my previous point is, if you really want to do something about that, the biggest lever that we have, the biggest thing that we can do is manipulate the world by using technology. And that has gone so far for so many people that that's probably why a lot of you are here. It's probably a lot of you are like, the world is changing dramatically by all these people who are basically software engineers in jeans and a t-shirt building these incredible things. And they all started with, nothing.
Right. Kevin, I want to hear from you. Do you believe in the future where AI has a role to play in making our society more just and more equitable?
Yes. In the meantime, we need to also look at the role of AI as well. So, yeah, as mentioned, there are many use cases that in legal, in jurisdiction, in health, AI is providing people in need with easy access to the system. We are implementing AI solution in our company for physical asset management, now making it accessible for many people. Like you're building a city of neon, for example. How is the maintenance of it is going to be long term and so on? Is it going to be accessible to everyone and so on and so forth? However, I believe that we need to distinguish between two things. AI is going to make us more efficient, but we need to distinguish between efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is about doing the right thing. The better you do the wrong thing, the wronger you are. That's the point. And effectiveness is where we have psychology, we have emotions, we have politics, we have compromise, we have culture and context. And that's where the role of human is more significant, at least for the future, for the foreseeable future. When, as AI sharpens the speed and precision tight, perhaps, yet human insight makes effectiveness right. And that's the key factor, at least for the time being. Nobody knows the future.
That's great. I think our time is almost up. Before we wrap up, I want to give you just 30 seconds to maybe share your final remarks on the topic. Anything you'd like to share with the audience that you haven't had a chance to share. Dr. Reza.
So we didn't talk about computer vision much. That's what I focus on. So Matroid helps factories deploy visual sensors. So all of the rocket ships that you've seen go to space, they've been inspected by Matroid. a lot of the interesting cars that you've seen manufactured and driving around, they've been inspected by Matroid, and we've automated so much of what happens in quality assurance in a factory. And we think we're eventually going to be in every factory. And that is such a cool thing, like basically having a lot of little helpers in a factory helping build society. That is like the builder's dream. And eventually, as more and more of what happens in a factory gets automated, you just have these incredible factories that take humanity to the next level. Incredibly excited by that. And if any of you have factories that you would like to have processes for inspection automated inside those factories, let's talk.
Kevin, any last words? Under 30 seconds.
30 seconds, though we talked about human identity. Let's look at this question. The industrial age gave us machine to replace our bodies. The information age and system is giving us machines to replace our thinking. Then what is next for human to do? What is next for human to do? Well, here is an answer I have, is about creation. From the philosophical point of view, from the systemic point of view, from evolution point of view, from even a theological point of view that sees now man in presence of God, and God's work is creation. The next task in the AI age for human would be imagination, design, and creation. We are entering an era of AI, human co-creation.
Thank you. Dr. Albert,
Yes.
any last words?
So even though I mentioned we need care about the no-go role of AI, when you put human in the loop, I think for regulators, government, or anyone who here can make the decision to let the AI go or not, I think we don't put brakes on AI. So we give freedom for AI to develop. So the role of regulators of government now is more on closely monitoring AI and its impact in society, rather than take any specific actions. So we give enough space for the field, for the industry to evolve. Yeah, that's my.
Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today on stage. I know all of you flew in from all over the world, China, Switzerland, and San Francisco for this session. So I hope the audience has enjoyed listening to you. I'm sure they have as much as I have. Please give them a round of applause, please, the audience. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event today and tomorrow.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.